Suche nach einem Videoregisseur.
We were looking for a video producer, video director.
Und da haben wir unter anderem auch David Lynch.
And we sent a CD to David Lynch as well.
Und irgendwie geriet in seine Auto-CD-Player.
And somehow, he managed to listen to this in his car.
Und er hat sich verliebt.
And he just fell in love with the stuff. So he asked us whether we would permit him to use these two songs in the film. And we first turned him down.
No, it was a joke.
Of course it was a joke, but right away said yes.
In Germany, Herzerlied was a runaway success, entering the charts no less than 5 times over 18 months. Its reputation soon spread to other European territories, and after years as underground musicians unable even to play in public in East Germany, Rammstein woke up and found they had become rock stars. None of them were ready for this transformation, but they embraced it wholeheartedly. They had never expected Rammstein to be commercially successful, but when it happened, they were determined to take it all the way. Over the next few years, they worked hard on promoting the band and playing live. From the start, it was obvious that Rammstein's music would work better in big venues and before large crowds. In a sense, the whole concept of Rammstein was a dark, tongue-in-cheek vision of a massively successful European rock band that existed in some strange parallel universe, an alternate reality that was now beginning to cross over into our own. Meanwhile, over in the United States of America, the legendary film director David Lynch was shooting a film that in part utilised just such a concept of a crossover between parallel universes. Lynch had made his name with the nightmare surrealism of Eraserhead and had gone on to shock, mystify, frustrate and enchant audiences with his dark, disturbing visions in films like Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart and the cult TV series Twin Peaks. His new film, Lost Highway, was his most bizarre and impenetrable yet, and he had just finished the final day's shooting when he decided to listen to a cassette he'd been sent by some obscure German rock band as he drove home. Rammstein were all big fans of Lynch's work and had sent him the tape in the slim hope that he might agree to direct the video for their debut single, Du riechst so gut. By the time he heard it, the single had already been and gone, but Lynch was so impressed with what he heard that he decided to use the band on the Lost Highway soundtrack. Heirate mich and Rammstein were both featured at crucial junctures in the movie and introduced the band to audiences in the US and Great Britain for the first time. If the band were surprised at their success in their homeland, then this exposure was more than they could possibly have hoped for. Rammstein, however, were not fame-struck teenagers. All, bar Riedel, were by now in their 30s and had their feet firmly on the ground. Instead of giving in to the demands of fame and dissipating their energies with parties, sexual conquests and recreational drug-taking, they tended to retreat from the world. They cultivated normal, stable family lives that they kept consciously separate from the band. Private lives that were just that and which enabled them to retain their sanity. Already they were being forced to issue denials of any Nazi affiliations and to deal with the far-right nationals and skinhead thugs that tried to adopt the band for their own ends. If anything, the bigger Rammstein got, the more disciplined they became. As the pressure for them to record the follow-up to Herzerlied grew, they resisted the temptation to work with big-name producers, staying with Jacob Hellner, who they said understood their working methods. They knew he wouldn't waste their time or money, or interfere in the songwriting process, but would work on the finished songs to make them stronger and encourage the band to perform well. He gave them the confidence and the security they needed to take Rammstein to the next level.
I would say generally American pop culture definitely has great influence on the German pop culture. But in a way that's kind of a pity because the Germans have good ideas too, and most bands in Germany are so busy imitating the Americans. And we are really the only ones, at least as far as I know, who don't do that.
On their second album, Sehnsucht, Rammstein continued to work in the same disciplined way as before, utilising strict rules and structures in the construction of each song. Each is based on a specific pattern or procedure, usually starting with a strong guitar riff. The basic music is produced around this framework before Till takes home a 4-track demo in order to work on the lyrics. The lyrics are always inspired by the music. A hard, sharp riff generating hard, sharp words, a softer riff getting a softer lyrical treatment. At this point, guitarist Paul Landers sits down with Till to flesh out the words, changing lines here and there, adjusting the guitar part to fit and so on. Then the whole band convene in the rehearsal room and work out the song again from scratch, experimenting with it, twisting it into new shapes and new directions. An utterly exhaustive, demanding process, and in a sense one that goes on forever, that continues each time the song is performed. Each Rammstein track is fluid, unstable, an ongoing work in progress. Once the song is recorded, all 6 attend the mixing process, and afterwards discuss what they liked and disliked. In many cases, they will then go back and play and record the song again and again until they are happy with it. An extremely time-consuming process, obviously, but Rammstein are nothing if not perfectionists. They are also a democratic unit, although their decisions are rarely unanimous. All, however, were of the view that Sehnsucht, which means hunger or longing, was a step on from the Herzlied. Released in the autumn of 1997, they felt that the music had become more tender, sensitive and delicate, while Till had begun singing properly instead of just barking and chanting. Indeed, opening with the quavering Arabic wail of the title track, co-credited to Richard Krusper's old group Orgasm Death gimmick, Sehnsucht immediately sounds bigger, more confident and polished than its predecessor. The same elements are in place, the industrial techno rhythms, the crunching metallic guitar and eerie keyboards, the soft loud dynamics, but with more of a sense of space and power. Till's vocals have improved, sounding less hammy than on Herzlied, while the band gel together behind him like never before. The whistling riff of Engel follows, invoking Ennio Morricone's haunting spaghetti western soundtracks. It's a genius contrast with Rammstein's patented Sturm und Drang, and the addition of angelic female vocals on the bridge, courtesy of Bobo, provide yet more counterpoint to make this easily the band's most commercially accessible and addictive song yet. Lyrically, it questions the attractiveness of everlasting life in heaven, suggesting that the angels, alone in fear, must question why they are forced to slowly fade away forever. God damn, not an angel when I die. Heaven must be hell in the sky. Tyr, meaning beast, asks where the line is drawn between man and animal, drawing on themes of incest, betrayal and revenge, to suggest that the two can never be separated. The crunch of the guitar is broken up by a sinuous synth hook that wouldn't be out of place on a Madonna record. Bish Strafe mich, or Punish Me, meanwhile comes on like some unholy hybrid of Faith No More and Depeche Mode. Till switching from guttural grunt to operatic baritone to high ballad voice to great effect on this hymn to sexual masochism. Pure heavy metal for the dance floor is provided with Du hast, meaning you hate. Its insistent chorus of ascending bass vocal set against a descending female choir, recalling Leonard Cohen's First We Take Manhattan. The lyrics apparently rely on a play on words that is almost impossible to translate from the German, but it seems to question the possibility of fidelity and upholding the marriage vows. Berk Dish, or Bend Down, is a superior rewrite of Der Meister, with a claustrophobic whip-crack guitars ricocheting between shiny metal walls of synthesizer, lyrically a somewhat comic invocation of sexual sadism, the inverse of Bish Strafe mich submissiveness. An ominous drone of keyboards and looped muffled moaning sounds signal the arrival of Spiel mit mir. Till initially sings in his high, sweet voice again, before plucked strings come in like a bouquet of barbed wire to herald the return of the voice of doom. Appropriately so, as this is a song of childhood innocence inadvertently corrupted, touching once more on the theme of incest. The title translates as Play With Me, a brother and sister share a bed. They begin touching each other and exploring each other's bodies. My brother helps me now and then so that I may sleep again. The song is non-judgmental. No one is being abused, but once more a taboo is broken. Till is in romantic balladeer voice again on clavier or piano as he sings over plucked guitars and skittering compressed beats before sheet metal guitars raise the chorus to operatic heights. A dark tale of beauty, temptation and finally murder. There are echoes of Zeman, yet once again the effect is stronger and more confident. Der Alter Mann, the old man, overlays driving guitars with a brooding synth riff and a hymn-like chorus that suits what is essentially a fable of age, fear, failure and loneliness. Another industrial techno stomper is Eifersucht, or jealousy, with its stuttering air-punching chorus and sampled laughter. Again, there are echoes of Depeche Mode, if they ever dared to rock this hard. Finally, there is Kuss mich, Kiss Me, a tale of rampant nymphomania, that is, of a woman addicted to sex, yet unable to gain real pleasure from it or to feel real love. Choppy, storm-tossed guitars tussle with a synthesized torrent of garbled, distorted vocals over a solid bass drum rhythm bass. It's a creepy, claustrophobic oral evocation of waggling tongues, wet lips, groping, grasping fingers, and all manner of physical unpleasantness. To date, Sehnsucht stands as the definitive Rammstein record. Containing two of their best-known tracks, it expands and enlarges upon the essence of their debut and perfects the harsh anthemic sound of the band. Sehnsucht was Rammstein. But where could they go from here?
Ist uns egal.
We don't really care. We were a little bit more
In der Presse tauchten dann irgendein paar merkwürdige Sachen auf.
Of course, we got, a lot of flags.
Aber der Erfolg hat uns jetzt recht gegeben
I must
weltweit.
say we are very successful worldwide, and frankly, we just don't give a damn anymore.
In 1998, Rammstein won an Echo Award, the German equivalent of a Grammy for Best Video in Engel. Directed by the band themselves, the video was a homage to the films of Quentin Tarantino, particularly Reservoir Dogs. They also won a Viva Comet Award for Best Live Band from Germany's Viva Music Channel, and in 1999 won another Echo for Most Successful National Artist Abroad. Indeed, Rammstein were the only German band since Kraftwerk to gain such extensive international acclaim. In Germany, Sehnsucht went straight to the top of the album charts, achieving platinum status and huge sales all across Europe, aided by the massive success of its two singles, Engel and Du hast. It was also the first Rammstein LP to be released in America, and in December of 1997, the band ventured across to the States for the first time. Rammstein toured in support of KMFDM and played in New York 3 times, taking the city by storm. Yet many Americans were becoming aware of the band for the first time, in an altogether less favourable light. They had contributed a version of Depeche Mode's Stripped to Music for the Masses, the tribute album to the metamorphosed 80s band, appearing alongside such alt-rock luminaries as the Smashing Pumpkins and The Cure. All well and good, but the trouble started when Rammstein decided to make a video for the song, utilising footage from the films of notorious wartime Nazi propagandist Leni Riefenstahl. With the band's music, lyrics and image already arousing suspicion of fascist sympathies, this was bound to add fuel to the flames, and seemed almost like a deliberate bid to stir up more controversy. Rammstein, for their part, claimed only to be interested in the films for their artistic value, not their political content. Certainly the debate over the merits of Riefenstahl's work is bigger and has a longer history than Rammstein's involvement in it. While his sympathies and the uses his films were put to is abhorred, cinema historians and critics acknowledged Riefenstahl as a seminal pioneer of the medium, whose skills, techniques and vision were far ahead of their time. Nevertheless, while Rammstein could speak of reclaiming some kind of cultural heritage for the German people, they were on dangerous, morally treacherous ground. The The controversy continued when they were booked to play the penultimate slot on the Family Values Package Tour of America in 1998. On stage in Worcester, Massachusetts, the band went into their usual theatrical routine for Burke Dish. Flake, clad in a silver and black rubber outfit complete with mask and ball gag, is led around the stage by Till on a neck chain. Finally, he's ordered to bend down over the monitors at the front of the stage, at which point Till unzips the bum flap of the keyboard player's outfit, exposing his naked backside. With exaggerated moustache-twirling glee, the singer then unzips his own fly, producing a large rubber dildo which he slaps against Flake's skin until a jet of white liquid arcs out over Flake, over Till himself, and finally, to the crowd's horror, out over the audience. It is pure pantomime, slapstick sodomy. But in Massachusetts, the authorities didn't see the joke. Till and Flake were arrested on stage on charges of lascivious conduct and jailed downtown for several hours until payment of a $100 fine. The band's theatrical antics were somewhat curtailed by the resulting 6-month probation, but the press garnered by the incident more than made up for it. Both Sehnsucht and its 2 singles entered the US charts, and in 1999 Rammstein received a Grammy nomination for Best Metal Performance for Du Hast. It was the first time a German band had ever received this honour. Rammstein had arrived, and America was bending down before them.
Das ist ein Wortspiel, das sehr schwer zu erklären ist. Das ist auch, die Frage wird dann ja sowieso noch kommen, warum wir nicht Englisch singen oder so. Die kamen jedenfalls meistens. Das ist einfach eine Sache, die man in Englisch nicht richtig übersetzen kann, aber es ist ein Wortspiel, das hat 2 völlig unterschiedliche Meanings.
Rammstein's records are only half the story of their success, and many feel that the band can only be fully appreciated when seen playing live. Certainly for Rammstein, the arena stage, which can dwarf many otherwise charismatic performers and alienate their audience, is their natural element, another instrument which they can use to stunning theatrical effect. And their main tool in achieving this is man's oldest friend, fire. It all began when Rammstein were first touring Herzlied. Till didn't know what to do with himself during the long instrumental passages in the songs, and found himself just hanging off the microphone stand, feeling like a prat. The static, monotonous rhythms of their tunes hardly lent themselves to him dancing around the stage or throwing things, and anyway, that wasn't his style. So he just stood there, glowering, until one night he found himself with a Roman candle in each hand. From that point on, there was no going back. Till actually studied to qualify as a pyrotechnician, just so that he could execute the band's spectacular blazing effects. His most familiar prop is an asbestos coat, in which he can appear on stage literally in flames, surrounded by explosions, huge jets of fire, rockets and Catherine wheels. Amazingly, no one has been killed yet. A Rammstein concert is a theatrical experience, and the band are conscious of putting on a show, a spectacle. It is partly serious, but it's also meant to be fun, and they approach the situation with a great deal of humour, playing the larger-than-life parts expected of them. As Flake says, it's partly a comedy show, with Till stomping around the stage singing, "Grr, grr, we are evil," and using the mix of explicit melodrama, sexual innuendo, pyrotechnics and huge anthemic musical power. Yet the band insist it's still for real. It's theatrical, but if you really want to play, you've got to have something in you. The Rammstein live sound was captured in compressed form over 2 nights in August of 1998, recorded and released as the Live aus Berlin album. The record captures the sheer power and scale of their performance, even without the visuals. As the crowd roars along in approval, it's awesome and not a little frightening. The Rammstein stadium experience teeters on a knife edge between parody and reality, and one could easily be swept away, submerged in their relentless vision, never to emerge again.
Deutschland ist Sonne die Single geworden.
Germany, Sonne became the single.
Und weil wir dachten, in Amerika soll es so richtig losrocken, haben wir links gewählt.
It means actually longing, something like that. Longing for someone, wanting someone.
If you thought that the Rammstein sound couldn't get any bigger after Sehnsucht, then you were mistaken. If that album quadrupled the power and fury of their debut, then Mutter does the same again, as Rammstein seem to increase exponentially. The record begins with Mein Herz brennt, My Heart Burns, a dark fairy tale which opens with Till, sinister and distorted, speaking softly over an orchestral introduction. Now, dear children, pay attention. I am the voice from the pillow. I have bought you something. I ripped it from my chest. Even more so than before, this album, whose title means mother, deals with the nightmares of childhood. The opening song reels off images of demons and black fairies under the bed, over a chorus of massed epic stabbing violins and a moody guitar solo that shows just how far Rammstein have come since Herzlied. The martial quick-step of Links 2, 3, 4 is named after an army marching chant applied to the beat of the heart. The lyric concerns the futility of trying to subject the emotions to such rigid military discipline. Sonne, the German for sun, refers to the burning power inside that can explode into violence. The ironic chorus of Here Comes the Sun has nothing to do with the hippie sentiments of the George Harrison song, but rather refers to the blinding white light that occurs just after you've been hit in the face seeing stars. A quavering operatic female choir hover like harpies in the chorus, while somewhere a referee counts from 1 to 10, as if in a boxing match. Ich will, or I want, is Du hast turned up to 11, a huge anthemic call and response stadium rock song. Rammstein undermine the cliched convention of the singer, calling out to the crowd for a response. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you feel me? The audience roars in the affirmative, but where the rock star would normally respond falsely, I can't hear you, in order to get them to scream even louder, Till sneers, I don't understand you, I don't understand why you believe in me, why you're so desperate for a leader, for someone to follow. The song satirises both star and audience's insatiable desire for love, for power, for acceptance. We want to see your hands, we want to go down in applause, yeah. The best ironic stadium rock anthem ever, operatic choirs and all. Feuerfrei is a German army command, literally fire freely, used in this case to describe sexual attack, another upbeat techno rock stomper that recalls both Daniel Dax's Cat House and Detonation Boulevard by the Sisters of Mercy, complete with bang bang chant. It has more power than both of them put together, however, with Rammstein unleashing their full armoury of wailing sirens, choirs, explosions and so forth. The lyric shows how pain is passed on, how sex is used as a weapon, vindictive and cruel to take out the hurt you feel on another, on the one you should love and protect. A hard thrust that gives off sparks into her womb. The burned child is dangerous. Your happiness is not my happiness, it is my misery. It punishes both the lover and the self. The track of the title, Mutter, opens with acoustic guitar picking and gurgling baby voices before rising into a slow-building guitar-dominated epic. The protagonist is a test-tube child, mourning the mother he never had and eventually driven to exact a terrible vengeance, even if it causes me to die. There are echoes of Frankenstein here, that moral tale of the dangers of science unbound, amplified by the album's disquieting sleeve art showing the band members unconscious and mutilated, floating in some kind of amniotic fluid. Spieler, or music box, is another dark fairy tale, beginning with Till in sinister storyteller mode, and using a traditional German children's song, Up and Down Rider, in the chorus. It's the story of a child that pretended to die because it wanted to be alone, and who was buried without ceremony in wet sand with a music box in its hand. Awakened by the first snow, the music box started to play, and a chilling children's song was heard across the land. Up and down, rider, my heart does not beat anymore. On the Day of the Dead, the citizens of the town hear the melody and dig up the child, saving its heart. In Zwitter, meaning hermaphrodite, two lovers merge into one perfect bisexual being, entirely self-sufficient. I am not even downhearted when one tells me, fuck yourself. The Rammstein sense of humour is also evident on Rheinraus, In Out, with its over-the-top sexual imagery of horse and rider and an elephant in the eye of the needle. It culminates in the punchline, "The ride was short, I am sorry, I climb off, I must go now to the other horses, they also want to be ridden." A musical high point is Adios, which compares heroin to music. He lays the needle in the vein from which one never awakes, and the album ends with the enigmatic Nebel or mist. Two lovers parting where the sea meets the land, and the last kiss. So long ago, he does not remember it anymore. Mutter is Rammstein's most accomplished and sonically adventurous LP. It is also their cleverest and their funniest. The playing and singing is seamless, achieving a professionalism that makes Herzlied sound like a demo. It is truly the sound of a band at the peak of their powers.
On April 2nd, actually.
Da ist Muttertag.
It's actually it's Mother's Day, appropriately enough.
Das wird weltweit veröffentlicht.
It's going to be published worldwide.
With the success of Mutter, Rammstein are now indisputably major players on the world stage. As well as being performers and musicians in their own right, they have been in demand as remixers, reworking tracks by the likes of Faith No More, Korn and Rob Zombie, among others. But as their fame grows, so the controversy that has continually dogged them throughout their careers refuses to go away, resurfacing each time a journalist takes it upon himself to introduce the band to a new audience. Rammstein, however, are deliberately provocative. They see it as their duty as artists to say the unspeakable, to explore forbidden themes, and to get us to consider our own darkest thoughts, fears and fantasies. Rammstein did not invent all the bad things in the world and are no more promoting them than a naturalist who turns over a stone is promoting the nasty creatures he finds beneath. What Rammstein are doing is questioning our notion of morality, of right and wrong, of religion and law. Forcing everything out into the open, and without being judgmental, they force us to make up our own minds about them. Meanwhile, the band continue to grow in their private lives. All have families of their own. Richard Krusper has a daughter, Kira Lee Lindemann, by Till Lindeman's ex-wife. Although the affair took place after she broke up with Till, she kept her married name, and as it didn't work out, so did her daughter. Richard, for his part, later married an American woman, Karen Bernstein, and added her surname to his own. Kira Lee, incidentally, sings on the Mutter track, Spieler. While all 6 members of Rammstein began playing together relatively late in life, they are probably physically fitter than many musicians half their age. There is no reason why they should not still have a long career ahead of them. The band have agreed that they will keep going until any one of them leaves, at which point it's over. Rammstein is a configuration of 6 specific people and their specific energies. Any other combination just wouldn't be the same. With the discipline that has characterised their career, Rammstein will no doubt finish when the time comes, cleanly and finally. There will be no encore, no afterlife, no heaven or hell, and no faded angels waiting in the sky.
Thank you for buying Maximum Rammstein. We hope you enjoyed it. Watch out for further titles on Chrome Dreams coming up soon. If you did enjoy or have any comments or suggestions, write to us at Chrome Dreams, PO Box 230, New Malden, Surrey, UK, KT36YY, or email on mail@chromedreams.co.uk. Details of our full catalogue are listed on our website at www.chromedreams.co.uk. Thanks again for listening and goodbye for now.